Okay, on COVID right now, I know that a lot of athletes and coaches around the world have been dealing with lack of equipment, and we've all kind of been trying to get through some training. We've been supporting our athletes with a lot of home workouts. It's been a while since I made a YouTube video. We're back to normal training. I'm back at Elevate Barbell. We were training in our garage gym for about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, something like that. Once we heard that gyms were going to be closed, we moved a combo rack and some plates and set up a platform with some rubber and streamed a lot of our workouts on YouTube and Twitch, and then on Twitch. And it was really awesome kind of getting to connect with a lot of people and just sharing our workouts and troubleshooting other people's training and just kind of talking about things in real time. So yeah, just kind of want to discuss what training has been like, what training will be like going forward, and then talk about some news that actually all of the national team athletes got pretty recently. So to start off with, my training had been safety bar squatting on one day, and then 2 days of competition squatting. 1 day of lower reps in like a 6 to 8 RPE range, and 1 day of higher reps, let's say 4 to 7 in a slightly higher RPE range. And that's been really good. So that was kind of what training was like previously. One of the problems was the loads got pretty darn heavy pretty quickly. So even doubles at 6 to 7 RPE ends up over 600 pounds for me. And I'm not complaining, but that ends up at a pretty high intensity twice a week. And then later in the week, I was doing over 600 pounds for sets of 5 to 7 or something like that. So all in all, the volume really added up over time, and the intensity really added up to the point where I was getting a little bit beat up. So that and the structure of days was making it so that I was doing high rep safety bar squat, and then the very next day I was coming back and doing low rep competition squats, and that was pretty heavy. The good news is I had a really good run of training over that period of time, especially for squats and bench press. So I worked my way up to 650 triple, 675 double, and you know, I think I have to turn down the there we go. And then a 700 single at like RPE 8, which I've only touched that weight a few times in my life, starting last year as one of the very first times. So I was just really happy to kind of get through that, experience that, and it really gave me a boost of confidence headed into Worlds. Now we know we don't have Worlds. So anyways, on bench press, we had like some high reps and then like a single and then some low reps and some stuff in like the triples range. Bench press training had been really good, you know, small rep PRs here and there. I checked off a nice milestone of like 398 pounds for 8 reps, which I remember when I did 390 for a single back with Matt Ogus in Southern California. So things have come a long way, and I'm really happy, and just kind of trying to stay self-referenced to my successes and failures. Something I want to talk about in a future video about how easy it is to compare yourself to other people and whether that's positive or negative. Anyway, deadlift training has been decent. Nothing too impressive to write home about. Getting the work done, I'm building the base, and I know that bigger pulls will come. To be fair to myself, this is probably the most amount of total work I've done at the weights that I'm doing, so that's good. What else? We did find out that Worlds is probably still going to happen, but Team USA is not sending a team. So we did find out that all the athletes going to Classic Worlds, Bench Worlds, and Masters Worlds, Team USA is not sending a team to each of those. So there's a lot of athletes who were anticipating going to a world championship, having earned their spot at various competitions, and like many other sports around the world, like many other competitions, already being canceled at the local, the national, and the international level. These have followed suit, and of course it's for safety concerns. At the same time, it's hard not to be disheartened by that kind of stuff, and I get to be disheartened, so I took my time to kind of be sad about, you know, having earned a spot at a really tough competition against Ashton, against Mikey Davis, against Jake Amendola, and against everyone who finished very high in the 105s class. And having earned that spot and wanting to go to Worlds, like Worlds was my prize. This is the thing that I really wanted to do, and I don't get to do that. So change of plans. We're back to Raw Nationals. So it'll basically be one competition this year if Raw Nationals is still being held. So prepping for Raw Nationals early October, and I guess we're somewhere around 17 weeks out from that now. So pedal to the metal again with some stiff competition up ahead, and going to try my best to stay self-referenced and focused on myself and comparison only against my previous numbers, and allow only the competitions to be the times where I allow myself to be compared against other athletes. And this is really just to control my own thoughts, because I can easily get into spirals of worry about my ability to be competitive against other athletes when all I see is snapshots of training here and there, snapshots of my own training and the loads that I'm hitting. We all know powerlifting is a very objective sport. It's very easy to see what other athletes are doing. That can be both a positive and a negative thing, depending on how we interpret those things. And it's really the interpretation that I struggle with sometimes. So that's where we're at. I've reframed, we're getting our team fee reimbursed, and it's just back to grinding for Raw Nationals. So we'll see how all that turns out in Daytona Beach a little bit later this year. Quite a lot of time to continue to prepare for that, continue to get stronger. Training is looking very good so far, so I'm optimistic. And yeah, so what's ahead? What did we change? Subtle changes here and there, so kind of just small things. We redistributed the fatigue, so this is probably a lower order concern, but I was having those days where I was squatting back to back, so we've taken some of those sessions and distributed them a little bit more to kind of allow me to perform my best. We've also done the same thing for deadlifting, and I've asked for more percentage-based stuff. There's nothing wrong with auto-regulation, but I find sometimes, both for mental and for physical reasons, having a fixed load on the barbell can feel freeing to just go in and hit the specific weight. It does a few things. It allows you to control fatigue a little bit more. So for instance, sets at RPE 6 can still be moderately fatiguing. That's not light stuff. You need to amp up, you need good technique, you need good bracing, and it can still get very heavy. You know, I've had sets this week where even RPE 6 weights have been close to PR territory. So I had a warm-up set, or like a first working set on squats, where I did 260, I think, for a set of 5, which not too long ago was PR territory. So anyways, we've added in some more percentage-based stuff. We continue to focus on bodybuilding movements and just building strength rather than just testing strength. I think the path for high-level athletes going forward is building muscle, as that potentiates future progress. So we're doing lots of quad work. The pitch arc is back in since we're back at Elevate. The single leg press is back in. We're doing lots of chest work. There's some close grip bench, some machine chest press, some flies. There's lots of shoulder work in there. I'm doing dumbbell shoulder presses for the first time in a while. We got some dumbbell lateral raises in there. Just plenty of work to build a complete package. That stuff I think also helps keep me healthy, but really it's more about muscle potentiating future increases in strength. So a really nice blended setup that has worked really well for me in the past, and we're going to use this as the base to go forward. So reps aren't too low right now. I think I do still have some singles on bench press before some back off stuff, but otherwise on squats, my heavy stuff is 5s, and my heavy stuff on bench press is 6s, and deadlift I'm doing some moderately light triples, and we'll kind of work our way down as we go forward. So that's it on the training side of things. I've taken my time to kind of process and feel sad about Worlds, as unique and important of an experience as it was to find out about that, and as hopeful as I was about to compete at the world level. it doesn't do me to just dwell on the fact that it got canceled and just stay in the doldrums. The quicker I'm able to bounce back, to reframe, and to cope, I think the better off I'll be going forward. And that actually leads me to talk about 2 videos that I'm going to put out. And I've gone back and forth about how to present this information because I've spent a lot of time researching this kind of stuff, and I don't want to do it a disservice. I want it to be something engaging and fun, informative. So I'll likely kind of talk in front of a camera, overlay some visuals up here. Topic number 1 is on burnout. So early on, after kind of tackling how to program for athletes, you know, ins and outs of exercise selection, volume and intensity, and making sure that I have the skills necessary to build athletes. I like looking for various sports psychology topics. So burnout was one of them. It turns out there's a tremendous amount of really helpful information about burnout. Not so much about exactly how to prevent it, but more about defining it. Preventing it is a little more anecdotal. We'll talk about that anyways. And a separate topic on mental toughness. This word that gets thrown around everywhere. Well, mental toughness, that person's tough. Resilient, another one. Hardy, and then grit. Grit is another one. Anyways, we'll talk about what these words mean, what is mental toughness, and how do you use it as an athlete and a coach. What is it? Can we build it? Is it genetic? All that kind of stuff. So stay tuned to some of that stuff. I will share some training, and I will talk to you guys soon. So thank you so much. See you.